Welcome back to KTN Newsdesk, where I'm now joined by Dr. Kisa Ngewa. He says he's used to being called Dr. Kisa, who's joining us. He is the Director of Veterinary Services in the country. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's kick off by asking you what your mandate is as the Director of Veterinary Services in the country. What does that entail?
Veterinary services are there to take care of our health, animal health and environmental health. And these are regulated based on international requirements.
So what is your specific role as a Director of Veterinary Services nationwide?
I oversee the implementation of animal health, animal production, animal welfare, and regulations that are related to them.
All right.
Including the Chapter 360.
I'm assuming that devolution of veterinary services will also fall into your mandate. So how is that going in the country?
As the Chief Veterinary Officer for World Organization for Animal Health, OIE, I have to actually assure all trading partners in the world that the animal health things in Kenya are going on well, that there is no insecurity in terms of poisoning, drug residues, or transmission of diseases from animal to people or from animal products to human beings.
But how are you going to ensure that that happens throughout the country, especially now that there's going to be movement of livestock between counties? So if it is certified in this county, do you then need a certificate to transport, say, a herd of cows or a herd of sheep into another county?
One way of controlling disease outbreak or spread is by use of livestock movement permit. And livestock movement permit is issued by one county to another one, which is actually giving a no objection. No objection will state the conditions that are required for livestock to move. They must have been vaccinated. They are free from ectoparasite or endoparasite. Now, we need to use one document, Republic of Kenya document, livestock movement permit, for example, which is serialized so that we know from which country the animal is moving from.
Okay, well, there have been reports that there's been corruption in terms of issuing out these permits so that people get a false permit, the animals have not been checked, and then we end up eating meat that hasn't really been checked. So how are you going to curb that? I've
not heard of corruption, but there have been movement permits that were not from my office. For example, there was movement permit made by county government of Bomet, which moved animals to the export slaughterhouse. But it is because we are not talking. Now we are actually talking. I was with the 5 Council of Governors members in Serena on 30th. I was in Panari with some county executive committee members describing and discussing the way forward. And we have actually agreed we'll be having a uniform movement instrument.
Right.
We'll also be having uniform transport, certificate of transport, dispatch notes, things that are to do with the regulations.
Okay. What about food security? There's been reports of recent escalation of Footinmouth disease in livestock. How has that affected the production of beef and other meats in the country?
Livestock disease actually affects us economically, socially, and even the well-being. So when there is outbreak of unnotifiable disease such as foot-and-mouth disease, there is quarantine. We stop movement of animal and animal products. But the disease itself causes severe reduction in production. It is also able to cause death, which means we are losing.
Right.
So we have to put measures. In the ideal situation, we actually need to vaccinate the animals prior to the outbreaks, because prevention is better than cure.
So is there vaccination going on currently on the livestock that have not been affected?
Yes. Okay. The livestock that have not been affected, we are doing ring vaccination. But the purchasing...
Is this happening in every county or specific?
Many counties. The latest one was actually in Nandi. It was in Trans Nzoia. It started from Nyandarua, like Kipia, Homa Bay, was in Gishu, almost all over the country. And the reason is we were not well prepared because the counties did not buy the vaccine in good time. They required to order the vaccine so that it is manufactured by Kenya Veterinary Vaccine Production Institute.
Thank you very much for coming into studio this afternoon. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Dr. Kisa Ngewa, who is the Director of Veterinary Services in the country.